Welcome to What About Boxing? The referee is the only person in the ring whose job isn't to win, it's to make sure everyone survives. But when a world title is on the line, one man's mercy is another man's theft. Today we look at 5 controversial moments that split the boxing world in two. I'll give you the two scenarios. You tell me, was it a robbery or a rescue? Meldrick Taylor was just 2 seconds away from a career-defining win over the legend Julio César Chávez. When Richard Steele waved it off with the clock blinking, it became the most debated stoppage in history. Steele famously defended his choice, saying, "I don't count the time, I count the man." But was he right? On one hand, you have the rescue. Taylor had swallowed a pint of his own blood and failed to respond to the ref's questions. And whether there are 2 seconds or 2 minutes left, a defenseless fighter is a defenseless fighter. On the other hand, you have the robbery. It was a mere 2 seconds from the biggest win of his life, and many believe Taylor earned the right to hear that final bell. Was he being saved, or was he being stripped of his greatest glory? Subriel Matias is known for breaking his opponents, but in his battle against Dalton Smith, he was the one sent crashing to the canvas. When the referee waved the fight off in the 5th round, the arena erupted, igniting an immediate debate over the champion's infamous, inhuman durability. Did he deserve the champion's privilege to keep fighting? Or was the referee rescuing him from a career-altering knockout? The split between the rescue and the robbery is stark. On one hand, Matias is a pressure fighter who relies on his chin. Once it failed him, he was viewed as a sitting duck for a clinical finisher like Smith. But on the other hand, he is the champion, a known slow starter with elite recovery. The central argument remains, should a referee take the title away while the champion is still standing and conscious? Keith Thurman was a bloody mess against the towering Inferno, but even through a mask of crimson, he was still firing back. While many argued his veteran status earned him the right to finish the fight, others saw a necessary intervention to protect his long-term health. It forces us to ask, is going out on your shield a heroic tradition or just a dangerous relic of a more brutal era? In the eyes of the rescue, the stoppage was inevitable. Thurman simply couldn't see the punches coming, and fighting a giant like Sebastian Fundora while blinded by your own blood is a fast track to permanent injury. However, proponents of the robbery point out that Thurman is a one-time specialist who was still landing power shots and arguably winning rounds. For them, the question is simple. Since when is a cut enough to stop a championship heart? Zab Judah famously tried to assault referee Jay Nady after he stopped the fight. Zab's brain told him he was fine, but his legs were doing the chicken dance. This is the ultimate rescue. While Zab felt robbed of his undisputed dream, the referee saw a man whose equilibrium had completely failed. In the heat of the moment, can a fighter ever truly know when they're finished? For those who support the rescue, the stoppage was non-negotiable. If your legs don't work, your defense doesn't work. One more shot from a puncher like Tszyu could have been catastrophic. However, those who argue the robbery highlight that Zab jumped right back up. He was coherent enough to argue. They ask, does a flash loss of equilibrium mean the fight is over? He should have had his count. Finally, the fight that still makes Crusher fans see red. Andre Ward was breaking Sergey Kovalev down, but the stoppage came as Kovalev was doubled over from shots that looked dangerously low. Referee Tony Weeks called it a TKO rescue. Kovalev called it an absolute robbery. When a ref confuses fatigue or foul play with being finished, the sport loses its integrity. Was this a rescue of a fading fighter or a robbery of a fair finish? Controversial stoppages are a permanent scar on the history of boxing. It's a clash between a fighter's survival instinct, their warrior ego, and the massive stakes of a world title. While the modern era prioritizes safety, many purists still hold on to that unwritten rule. In a championship bout, the king deserves the right to go out on his shield. But where do you draw the line? Is a referee a hero for saving a man's future, or a thief for stealing his greatest moment? I've given you the scenarios. Now I want your verdict. For these 5 fights, was it a robbery or a rescue? Drop your take in the comments, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into Ring IQ, and I'll see you in the next one.